doesn't.
Scheiße!
You're a wet bag. But I'd rather you talk to me, participate with anyway. So let's see what we do. The distance from the set of points to a point is the same as the distance of the set of points to another point. But I've deliberately written it in the not straightforward form. The method does not work unless you have it as a z minus bracket. So write in the rest yourself before we talk about it. So it's almost like talking about the difference between this point and that point. The difference, but it turns out to be it's not difference that we're talking about a distance, it's a magnitude of the distance. How do I write that if I take out a minus? If I take the minus out, this becomes a
Plus.
Yeah. If I take a minus out, this becomes a
Negative.
Yeah. Does your brain just see it automatically?
Pleasure, this
Yeah.
is being recorded.
It's all about because people watching it too, a lot of people really struggle. So that one's going to be, I do remember saying this at school. I'd write that automatically as a minus, and I'd go 2 minuses made a plus. I don't know why, but I did. It was just like, why did my brain think like that? The minus is gone, so you got the 5. The minus is gone, so you got a plus. You can think that way if you want to think that way. So we're talking about 2 points, and I'm going to go back to diagram and try to make a reasonable diagram. I've tried to make revolving numbers. If it turns out to be nice numbers, that's because I haven't thought it through completely. This point is called, there's the real part of Z, and there's the imaginary part of Z. So you missed a fair bit of this, didn't you?
Maybe.
Yeah. So the real part is 3. I go 1, 2, 3, and I go down 1 for the imaginary, so down to there. So there's the first one. So there's, I could write that as 3 minus. I could write as 3 minus I. I can write as 3 minus 1. I can write all sorts of stuff there. If I wanted to, I could write 3 minus 1. Doesn't matter which one I write it as. Do we even need to write that at all? No. As long as it's clear on the diagram. By the way, I've got no numbers marked in here. I could mark in 2 and 4, and I could go minus 2 and minus 1 and do some stuff in there. Try to make it reasonable. So a 5 and 3. Across to 5. I'm going to 2. I'm going to go up to 3. 5 and 3. I think it's going to be reasonable, isn't it? What's the set of points that are the same distance from there as they are from there? And the most obvious one is the midpoint. So let's say there's 2 approaches. Let's say we do it graphically. Is it graphically? Yeah. And then we'll just go through and do it algebraically. And then we'll test the points and see if they're actually true and see what's going on.
So what you're trying to do is find all the points that are the same distance from both these points.
Yeah.
Right. So would you create a line with them and then get the perpendicular line, and it's every point along that line?
And that's about as good an explanation I've ever seen or heard. So you see it in your head, don't you? Is that your lit side of your brain? So in other words, you could get this line here. So if we wanted to, we could draw that line in there. And go, well, we want not after that. So which one do we want instead? We want the one that goes through the middle here. So first of all, you probably need that middle point there. How do you get in the middle of, I'm going to write it here as 3 minus 1, and what's that one? 5, 3. So what's the middle of 5 and 3?
4.
How would you do that traditionally? How do you get a midpoint?
M equals x1 plus x2 over 2, comma, y1 plus y2.
So you can go through that, and you can go, this is x1, y1, let's go slow, but I'm not going to make the video too long. And you can go through and do all that. But let's do it for once, because I don't know if I've done this with you guys before. So it's 3 plus 5 over 2, which happens to be what? 4. What's halfway between 3 and 5? You go, guys, okay with middle point, just halfway between the middle point, midpoint. So what's halfway between minus 1 and 3? I could write it as minus 1 plus 3 over 2. And I can go, well, that's 2 over 2, which is 1. You have to show me that. I'm gonna get rid of all that and say, no, we don't need that. You could just look at it over here and just say, there it is. It's 4 and 1. Pretty obvious.
Mm.
So by the way, if I put 4 and 1 into here, and I put 4 1 into there and 4 1 into there, am I going to get the same magnitude? Should we do it? Are your brains at that point, you just going, I want to see that it works? Or do you just accept it? See, so many things I can do in teaching, especially at this level, is I can just go teach it, just go, let's try.
I'm down to just accepting it, because
Yeah.
we know from graphing it that it works.
That's true. All right, let's go algebraically for a moment. We're going to sort of step over there with a check. So basically what are we doing? Yes, with
Substitution.
substitution. So what do we think of this? 4 1. So I've got that with a 4 plus I minus 3 plus I. I'm going to write it in the non-bracket form. And I've got 4 plus I minus 5 minus 3. Because a lot of people, they don't really take the concept in. So what's this going to be? 4 take 3 is? Come on, answer me, you rat bags. 4 take 3 is?
1.
I plus I is?
2
2 I. 4 take 5 is?
1.
Negative 1.
Minus 1. And I take 3I is?
Negative 2i.
You can see this had a 1 and a 2 and that had a 1 and a 2. So do I need to go? Well, that means I've got the Pythagoras, the distance between those two is 1 squared plus 2 squared, and the distance between those two is, be fussy for a moment, minus 1 squared plus minus 2 squared. And you can see that turns out to be root 5 and that turns out root 5. So yeah, it works. And you could sit there going through that process. So there's your check of it all. Let's just get rid of that. Did we have to do that? No. So what's the gradient of this line? How do you traditionally do gradient? Come on, now say it for me. Rise over the run. Would you write rise over the run, or would you write y2 take y1
Yes.
over x2 take x1? Yeah?
Sure.
Give me the numbers in the correct order, Ash. So y2 take the y1.
3 take negative 1.
Yep.
Oh, and 5 take 3.
What's 3 take minus 1?
4.
Over 2, and the gradient is 2. Now, do we need any of that? I can actually rub your stuff off. Can you look at it and tell me the gradient?
Pretty much, yeah.
Probably.
You just go, that's 4 over 2. 4 over 2. People will be right with that.
I'd probably draw it out, but
Yeah. So by the way, if we made it nice, if we wanted a little bit of description, we call that point A and we call that point B. You can go to the line AB, or the gradient, if we want to be fussy, of line AB is 2. So what's the gradient of the perpendicular?
The
Gradient of
inverse.
the perp of AB.
negative half.
Negative half, and you're okay that M1, M2 equals minus 1.
Yep.
So they're the upside down, the reciprocal of each other, and if that was positive, that becomes negative. And you look at it over here, and you can see it's got a gradient of negative half over here somewhere. So that's a gradient of 2, and that has a gradient of negative half. How quick could you have done that? Seconds, if you're confident. But if you're not confident, you take forever. What do we need now?
An equation.
Equation. So there's a straight line called y equals mx plus, you go B or C?
C.
C. And we now know that's minus a half x plus C. And what comes to the rescue? Starts with S and got lots of letters.
Substitution.
And what do we substitute?
The numbers.
The
points.
Yeah.
The
Which
given
point? Can we substitute that point? Being
4.
stupid. Can't substitute that, can't substitute that, can substitute that, so we get the value of C. Is it going to be at 4?
4 foot 1 at.
Oh, here we
4
go.
foot 1.
Yeah.
Minus a half x plus C, and I'm going to write properly for a moment, sub 4, 1. We get 1 equals minus a half times 4 plus C, make sure I don't make any mistakes, minus 2 plus C, and C equals 3.
There's the coffin.
And the top and the camera. So what have we got now? The locus is the equation of the locus. Let's write it for a moment. Some people say locus, I'm saying locus. Equation of the locus is minus a half x plus 3. Now, if you looked at my rough diagram, I was heading over here somewhere, so I'm a bit rough. Could I've done it more accurately and figured it out by hand without doing anything? Yeah. So that's graphically. So what could you have done? You could have said halfway is 4, 1. You said, well, that's got a gradient of 2. This has got a gradient of minus a half plus c, and you can just go sub, what is it, 4, 1, and got c. Could have almost done that and you could have written the answer then. So, if you don't want to go that way and you don't want to think that way, what can you do instead? You're going to make a bit of room for it. Forget about all this stuff.
Substitute x plus iy.
Yes. Sub z equals x plus iy, and go through the algebra. So ready for it? What are we going to have? X plus iy minus 3 plus I, and that's going to be x plus iy minus 5 minus 3i. And what am I going to use? This is the magnitude of the point from the origin. Let's have a look at that. So what have we got? An x minus 3, and we've got y plus 1i. And how many people go wrong there? Me included. So there's the i's. There's the plus 1. This one here, what have I got? An x minus 5, got those two. Are you the sort of person you got to write this down? Could you write plus iy minus 3i? Would that be helpful to you?
Not really.
Not really. You can see there. There's the y minus 3 with the i's. So you can just go y minus 3 with the i. Now what do?
Square everything. Square root everything.
Missing part. Let's have a look. So it's an x minus 3 squared plus a y plus 1 squared. And it's an x minus 5 squared plus a y minus 3 squared. And at this point you go, what was quicker and easier, doing a graph or do that?
Right.
I think so. For me, what if it got a bit revolting? Maybe. What if they do something in reverse, like they give you the locus and get one of the points? Oh, do something in reverse. Once you learn it one way.
Have you proven anything there?
Now, let's go back to the basics on this. If I square that side, I square that side. What does a square do to a square root?
Take it away.
Just in case you weren't confident. So now I'm going to expand that. X squared minus 6x plus 9. Are you that quick on that now? X squared, there's the 9. Times them together and double it. I think I need more space, don't I? So I am cutting steps. Do any of you need me to write that down first and that down first? I'm just going straight there. X squared minus 6x plus 9. Let's test, who are we going to test? Ash. Expand that one for me.
Y squared plus 2y plus 1.
And that one.
X squared take 10 plus 25.
10x
10x, sorry.
plus 25.
Yeah. And then y squared take 6y plus 9.
And you can go, well, you can imagine how much you could shortcut this. You don't have to write down the x squareds and the y squareds, because they will cancel and they will cancel.
Take out the 9s.
Flexible like terms, I can take out the 9s as well. Good pick, I didn't see that. Wasn't looking for it, by the way. So you got a minus 6x plus a 2y. At this point, you could have almost written the answer down. I tend to say to people you're better to write that down. Why? Because of the goofy mistakes when you get to a test. So by the way, for this method, if I had it harder, so for example, if I had a 2 there or a 3 there, it's not worth doing it graphically. You go back to the algebra. So, I do know people who'll still prefer this. So what have we got? If I add 10x there, I add 10x, I'm being stupid writing the whole thing, I got 4x. Well, if I add 6y there, and I'm going to do something different in case you're not used to it, plus 8y, minus 25, minus 25, minus 24 equals 0. What's that form called?
Oh, the one that creates a circle.
General
Or is that
form
squared?
of a straight line. Divide it all by 4. X plus 2y minus 6 equals 0.
Yep.
So by the way, if it didn't stipulate, calculate the equation of the locus, that's 4 marks. So you can write whatever form you want, unless it stipulates. World acceptable form, everyone writes it. So let's get it back to the other form, 2y minus x plus 6. Divide everything by 2, and they got y equals minus x. And that point you say, I think I'd rather do graphically. Nice to take a bit of time on it.
If it doesn't state which method, can we do either? Will we get 4
No,
marks?
you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.